today's Warzone video and be giving you the absolute best settings to be using in Warzone Season 1. If any of these Warzone settings do help you guys out, make sure you click that thumbs up button. That'll help other people see this video. We can help them out as well. And make sure you guys subscribe with those notifications on, and you'll be notified the next time I post a video on this channel. With all that being said, let's just hop straight into it. Now we're actually gonna be starting off with my controller settings. So here's the controller for reference that I use every single day I play Warzone. It is a scuff controller, so I got these paddles in the back here where I could jump when I press this and slide, dive, whatever it may be with this one. So that allows me to keep my thumbs on the analog stick and do everything back here rather than taking my thumb off the analog stick and doing it over here. I can maintain very good aim. And then I also have control freaks on, which you could see the purple one is my aiming one, and then the orange is my running one. And these greatly help increase my accuracy. You guys could actually purchase some by using my code FRIZZEYES, just same as the YouTube channel. And you could save yourself some money when purchasing these, and these last for years. They're super, super good. So with all that being said, my button and stick layout are default. Like I said, everything kind of happens on the back over here, so I just don't change any of that. I do use the triggers for aiming and shooting. I don't have them flipped. That's all personal preference. If you like to have it like that, you're more than welcome to do that. Controller vibration, make sure this is off. You do not need your controller shaking when you're in a gunfight or firing your weapon. It's not helping you whatsoever. Take this off. It may take some time to get used to, especially if you've been using it for quite a while, but you'll thank me later when your controller's not shaking when you're in gunfights. Now, for the dead zones here, I do play on a 7 for the left, which is pretty average. It's pretty much the default. But my right one is 15, and this actually makes my aim so much stickier, and it helps me abuse aim assist because it is beyond overpowered in Modern Warfare 3. Some of you may like it, some of you may not. I recommend trying it before you kind of just neglect it, but if you don't like it, you could have it as a 7 as well, just like the left stick minimum. And then for my left and right, I have those completely maxed out at 100. And then the left and right trigger are 0. Anything over 0, there will be a delay in your triggers. So make sure that it is 0 so there's 0 delay. Moving on, we have my sensitivity. So starting off, I do play on a 6 for horizontal, and then my vertical is actually a 5, which is a little different. Usually they're the same, but horizontally, I'm always looking left and right. I want to be a little bit more quicker than my vertical, because vertically I'm not always looking up and down, so it doesn't need to be as quick. And a little bit of a secret as well, if you click show more for both, you could see my advanced vertical and horizontal stick sense is actually a 1. So what you want to do to change this, at default yours is going to be a 1.20. You're going to want to go all the way up to custom for both these, and then you're going to be able to change it. I'd recommend doing a 1. Some people say it's placebo. Other people say they notice a huge difference. And me personally, I've actually noticed a difference. Again, it could be placebo. A lot of people kind of argue about it back and forth, but I recommend changing it, man. I feel like my aim is just incredibly, just so much better after changing it to a 1. So just keep that in mind that you could do that. My ADS sensitivity multiplier, now this is a different sensitivity. So while I'm aiming down sights, it's actually different. It's a 0.80, and this is once again going to make my aim assist super sticky so I can land every single shot. Now, a 0.80 is a little extreme. If you don't want to do that, you could also do a 0.90, a 0.85. Those are two very good ones as well, but man, the 0.80 is what works best for me. And then you can mess with the rest of them right here for the multipliers if you want. Moving on, we have my aim response curve. This is dynamic. I think this is the absolute best one. The pro players actually almost GA'd this in the CDL because of how OP it is. So make sure you have it on dynamic. Abuse it while you can. My ADS sensitivity multiplier focus. This is for scopes. So for instance, like that eagle's eye 2.5 times. That is really, really good. But scopes are a lot more zoomed in. I don't want it too slow. I actually want to drag back and forth as fast as possible. So that's why it's not a 0.80. I keep it at 0.95. So it is a little bit slower, and it's not too slow where I can't drag it as often as I would like to. Obviously, make sure your target aim assist is on, or you're not going to have your aim assist on. My aim assist type is default. Now, a lot of people like to argue back and forth about which is better, default or Black Ops. I've tested out both of them, and default just felt better to me personally. It is personal preference, so rock whatever you feel most comfortable with. I just think default works the best in general. And that is going to wrap up the aiming. Moving on to gameplay controller settings. automatic tactical sprint. And you're gonna wanna make sure automatic tactical sprints is on. So here we are in the firing range. I'm just gonna quickly show you what it does. So here is my running stick, the orange one, like I mentioned earlier. Normally you would have to press down on this and then move up to automatic tact sprint, and that'll make you sprint the quickest in the game. Well, with the setting on, all I have to do is just up in a maximum sprint. I'm already going as fast as I possibly can by just simply going up on the analog stick. So it just saves you a little bit of time rather than mashing the controller. Next, auto move forward. I have this off. I don't really mess with that. Tactical sprint behavior, double tap. Don't really mess with that. Ground mantle, I have mine on. A lot of this is pretty much default. Parachute auto deploy, make sure this is off. So whenever you're landing in, it doesn't auto pull your parachute at a certain height. You could pull it whenever you want to, and you can get as close to the ground as possible, and that'll just help you, get straight into action, grab the weapon that's around the corner, open the loot case, whatever it may be. So I think that's really important. Slide cancel sprint, I do have this on. Other than that, a lot of this seems to be pretty default. For interact and reload behavior, since we're playing Warzone, make sure it's on prioritize interact, so then you could spam pick up items. It just makes things, once again, just so much more efficient. Tap to reload is usually only really good for multiplayer, so make sure it's on prioritize interact. Armor be a plate behavior, make sure it's on apply all. So rather than having to hold down triangle or whatever it may be on your controller to put all your plates in, you only got to hold it down once, and then it applies all the plates you're missing rather than having to hold it down to apply one at a time. So it's just kind of a little bit quicker in my opinion. Backpack control, I have mine on directional buttons. So that allows me to use my D-pad to move around in my backpack rather than my analog sticks. I think it's just so much easier and more beneficial to use your D-pad instead. So make sure that's on. And other than that, here are the rest of the settings. I do not mess with any of that. So yeah, it's gonna wrap up for the controller settings. Moving on to my graphics settings, I didn't do any of these, but I will show them all off. I actually had a company by the name of FPS Hub do all of this for me. They optimize my PC, so not only does my game look better, I get a lot more frames, and all the parts in my PC are actually optimized to be used to their full potential, because right now you're not getting the full potential out of whatever you spend on your PC. So I highly recommend hitting them up. I'm pretty sure I have a discount code that you guys could use to save some money. And not only that, a lot of your PC parts kind of get weared and teared on because it's not being fully used, especially your fans. Like, those things aren't going as crazy as they really need to be going to keep your PC as cool as possible so it doesn't overheat. So shout to these guys. I mean, they really hooked me up, and I've had literally zero PC, knock on wood, I've had zero PC issues due to them. So I don't know, very helpful, and I think they can help you out as well, especially if you're on PC. So moving on from that, field of view, I play on a 115. I just feel like 120 is OD to me. I don't know. Personal preference at the end of the day. Once again, I just feel like 115 suits me best. My ADS field of view is affected, so visually my weapons look like they have less recoil than they really do. You gotta have this on. Super important setting here. My weapon field of view is wide, so if you guys take a look at what it says on the bottom right there, my wide makes my weapon look smaller. So I do that just so I could get a better view around the map of what's going on. If I see an enemy or whatever it may be, I don't need my big old weapon in my face. I don't need that. So that's why I like to have the weapon smaller so I could see better. Now for world and weapon motion blur, turn this off. Your game is going to look infinitely smoother when you turn this off. It is an absolute game changer. Film grain, I have this all the way to 0, so everything's a lot more smooth than grainy looking. For my first person camera movement, I have it at 50%, and this is going to literally reduce the camera movement like it says. The default here is 100%, so there's a lot more going on. Again, the combination of having your camera movement at 50% and having these motion blurs off, game changer. Your game is going to look and feel so much better. And then I have inverted flash, so if I get flashbanged, my screen goes black instead of white. You don't gotta take that hard blink. And I feel like the effects just feel reduced to me personally. And that's gonna wrap up the graphic settings. Very straightforward. We then have my audio settings. So I play on headphone bass boost. I miss when they had boost low back in Warzone 1. It was so good, but bass boost will do. It just helps me hear footsteps so much better. I honestly think this is the superior audio mix setting. It just, so, in my opinion, is just so good. My master volume is at 20 just because I personally have the headset a lot more cranked up on my end rather than the game's end. Gameplay music, I only have it at 10. You could honestly turn this off. You don't want to hear all that. You want to hear the important things like gunshots, enemy dialogue. That's why I have this at 70%, so I can hear a call out if there's a UAV or whatever. I could play a little bit more differently, you know, whatever I got to do. Effects, this is, again, gunfire, footsteps. You want this cranked. That's what you want to hear is enemy footsteps. Where are people coming from? Voice chat, I don't really care for that. I have it at 4, so I could barely hear it. And then cinematic music, this is like when you're in the final zone and there's crazy music playing. That's when you got to be mainly locked in. I don't want to hear no music, so I got that completely turned off. And then we have my voice chat. I have that on. It doesn't really matter. I don't even use it. My mic doesn't even work. Last words, I have this on. I like to hear what the enemies have to say sometimes. All subtitles off. I think this is just nonsense on my screen. I just don't care for. Mono audio, make sure this is off as well. If this is on, the left and right audio channels are mixed, so it'll be a lot harder for you to tell where the enemies are coming from, left or right. If this is off, it is separated, which is incredibly important. Make sure you have this setting on here, the reduced tinnitus setting, and this is going to reduce the noise that the flashbang and concussions make. So when that does happen to you, you can kind of prepare and get ready for when the enemies are coming from, because you can actually hear footsteps instead of that flashbang or concussion. I have war tracks off. I don't really care for that. Juggernaut's in there. My hit markers are Modern Warfare. And yeah, very straightforward. Those are my audio settings. And finally, we have my interface settings. So once again, subtitles are off. Nonsense on the screen. Don't really care for it. Right here, people always ask me, Frizz, why does your game look so goddamn beautiful? What are you doing? Tell me. I want to know. I got y'all. So right here, all the juicy stuff. Color filter, make sure you're on 2. Color filter target, make sure it is on both, and make sure your world and interface color intensity are both 100. Mic drop. Thank me later. Don't got to say anymore. On my HUD bounds, I have these completely pushed in, so my mini map, my ammo, all of that is a lot more towards the center of my screen, because that's the most important part, is the center of your screen. Just making sure you're centered on the enemies, where they're coming from, and if your mini map and all your things are a little bit closer to the center, you can quickly glance at those things rather than having to glance a little further. It's such a minute thing. It's such a small change, but in my opinion, it makes the world of a difference, because I can quickly glance at those little things like my ammo count, my field upgrade, my kill streaks, things like that. I can quickly look at and then go back to the center of my screen. Just saves me a little bit of a split second. I think it's very important to do that. Make sure you have your mini map on square. It shows way better coverage than the circle mini map. Mini map rotation is on. My horizontal compass, I personally turn it off. I don't use it to call out in Warzone whatsoever. So again, it's just more nonsense on my screen I don't care for. But if you use it, go ahead and have it on. I just have it off. We have my crosshairs right here. Mine are on. I have the center dot on, and my center dot scale is actually largest. So I'm gonna turn my face cam off so you guys can quickly see. So the far right one is the one that I'm using, and then it just makes that white dot so much larger, and that'll help you with your centering and just having it on the enemies at all times. Game changer. It'll help you land a lot more of your shots in game. Player names are abbreviated. Telemetry, if you guys want to mess with your FPS counter, have it shown on screen in the top left hand corner like I do. Servers latency, packet loss, all that type of good stuff. It is all up to you. I have this off because it's just too big on my screen. You guys can have these on like I do, just in case you're lagging, you know what's happening. Gameplay tips, turn that off. I don't want that on my screen. Tool tips are off. And yeah, those are my interface settings. And yeah, those are the absolute best settings here in Warzone 3. I hope these helped. If they did, once again, click that thumbs up button and make sure you guys subscribe. I got some gameplay coming out very soon, and I want you guys to miss out on that. You guys all stay safe. Have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.